Hi, everyone. We have Andrea with us, and she's the author of a book called Artfulness, and she talks about writing Wednesdays. And she's going to share with us, and there's a couple of videos that she's done with us, and I'll make sure that the links are available so you can watch all the series of the power of writing. So over to you, Andrea. Tell us about your book. Tell us how we can get it. And she's offering a special $99 package if you take her business writing class. So she'll tell you all about it.
Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and thank you for having me on again. My name is Andrea Yarbo, and I am a teacher over in Prince William County, Virginia, and I am the author of Artfulness, Formula-Free Writing Explorations for Secondary ELA Classes. And the book originated from the idea that storytelling is one of the most important skills that we all have. It's one of the most important and meaningful forms of communication. I think Sharon can speak to this a little bit coming up too with her stories and the power of a story to fill a role in our lives that other forms of communication just don't do, right? You can actually change people's lives with our stories. And when we teach stories in school, when we teach writing in school, we often actually prioritize nonfiction writing over fiction writing. And we don't see the connection between the two. And so the book originated from the idea that if we implement creative writing into core English instruction, we can teach students to think critically about the choices they're making as writers and how they're presenting their information, not only in fiction pieces, but in nonfiction pieces also. And in the process, they become stronger communicators. Well, that process isn't exclusive just to students, right? So the book was originally envisioned as a resource for teachers, and it is a fantastic resource for teachers. If you have students of your own who are going to school, if you know teachers who teach ELA, please do recommend the book. It's a great resource. It gives them 20 step-by-step lessons that they can take their students through. But it's also really useful for business people. So I was reading an article just a short while ago, and it was talking about the power of storytelling as a business tool. And specifically, it was arguing that business people, and I think all of us here can attest to this, we're all selling something, right? Whether we're selling a product or we're selling an idea or we're selling a vision, we want the people that we're interacting with to buy into whatever it is we're selling. And as business owners, we have about two different ways to do this. One is through rhetoric, and one is through storytelling. And the article was arguing that rhetoric is the most common tool that we use. We try to give logical appeals or rational appeals, or you can trust me because I'm credible appeals. And that's good, you need those, but those don't touch people the way that stories do. Those don't tap into emotions, right? So if you're trying to get somebody to agree with your position or buy your product, you're trying to persuade them that you are the best source for whatever it is you're trying to get them to do, tapping into their emotions is one of the strongest, fastest ways to do that. And you build an emotional connection with your clients, and they're going to stick with you. If they know they can trust you, if they feel like your story is their story, that you understand what they've been going through, they're more likely going to work with you. And so that's where the book becomes really helpful for businesses. So even though it's written as a teaching aid, and in fact, because it's written as a teaching aid, you don't actually have to know how to write stories. You don't have to be a published author yourself to benefit from this. It literally takes you step by step through the process of these creative writing activities. And each creative writing activity is designed to target a core skill. So the very first activity is called Express Yourself. And that's a great activity to use as a business because you're trying to express what's unique, what's unconventional, what's a little different about you than the person standing next to you that sells a similar product. So even though it was envisioned for students, you can see that quick applicability for businesses and how you can just reimagine what you would do with that particular skill. So you play around with stories and it seems like you're just sort of playing around and having fun. But what you're learning how to do is you're learning how to tap into that storytelling, and you're learning how to reach your customers, your clients, your potential business people through the power of storytelling. And the idea is that you write every Wednesday. That's why it's called a Writing Wednesday book. The idea that writing is actually a skill, not a talent. There are some very talented writers, but anybody can write. Anybody can learn how to write, and anybody can write effectively. But you have to do it regularly, just like anything else. Like, I don't run, but if I actually put any effort into it, eventually, theoretically, if I ran regularly, I would get to be a stronger runner. And the same thing is true with writing. If you write regularly, you can be a stronger writer. So that's the book. Any questions? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Andrea, I do have a question real quick. Why is it that, and you're an educator, it seems like the art of writing is really not present in curriculum these days? And why has that happened? And through your program, you know, a lot more children are going to get exposure to that. But is there more that we should be talking to our local school districts about, and even private schools, to say, hey, the importance of being able to even write good emails, or write letters, or write contracts, or write proposals? I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the history of how it sort of fell out of curriculum. I know that I went to school many, 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 many years ago, and I was learning the same things we're teaching right now. So the world has evolved, but our teaching of writing really hasn't. It's still stuck in the 1970s, 1980s. I think the challenge, and the reason why there's no artfulness, which is why the book's called Artfulness, is because we rely on formulas. And there's very good reasons why we use formulas as a scaffold. But what's happened in education is that the formula has become the product as opposed to the scaffold. And what that does is it teaches students how to write one thing. And so if they have to suddenly write, as you were saying, like a business proposal or an email or a letter to a prospective client, they don't understand that you're making different moves, or that you should be making different moves, because we've only ever shown them one way. So you can't really fault the kids. That's all we've taught them to do. And that's where, if we can get teachers to move away from writing formulas, if we can get businesses to move away from a formula that teaches them, okay, this is what your Instagram feed should look like on your business. This is what your Instagram feed could look like on your business, but this is also what your Instagram feed could look like. And so learning how to use mentor texts and modeling, and quite frankly, just playing around and messing up. You know, art is anybody who's artistic knows that they have lots of pieces of art that go in the trash, right? They don't go anywhere. You just have to try something sometimes and see if it works. And I think we're just afraid to do that.
All right. Thanks, Andrea. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Great job. Am I muted? Are we still on? Okay.
We are still on.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Just making sure.
Sharon, did you want to maybe go ahead and I think
Sure.
she's going to present next. You want to maybe go ahead and start?
Sure, I'll go ahead.